Hey there guys and gals, how are we doing today? Today is going to be my core day training video, and today's going to be a little bit different. Sort of, but not really. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. I had a few things I wanted to talk about today because I made some exponential gains today. And you'll see that here very shortly. After I finish my warm-up and get into my skill training. I wanted to talk about today, I have around 15 to 16 years of training experience in all different sorts of, aspects of fitness. I've done various martial arts for many years. I have done weight training. I have done machines. And, my true passion is martial arts and calisthenics. I don't really have time right now for martial arts. But I do have time for calisthenics. And, I really, really love calisthenics. And, I've talked about it, quite a bit, why I feel like it's such a healthy hobby for people to have. Especially if you're like me and you sit at a desk all day, it's great to have something to get you outside or to get you out of your house or out of the office, wherever it is that you sit. And, a place to clear your mind and a place to train your body so that it just doesn't waste away in space. Because that's what will happen if we do not eat right and if we do not exercise. What you do not use, you will lose. That could be memories, thoughts, knowledge. That could be the muscles on your body, different physiologic functions. If we don't use something, we lose something. But anyways, I wanted to talk about today how to get strong and how to do all the stuff you see me do and how to do more of the stuff than I am currently able to do, that I hope to be able to do in the future, given my current knowledge and, hopefully knowledge to come. Like I said, I had, maybe about 15 to 16 years of training experience, most of that in calisthenics. Alrighty, so I had a little bit of a disturbance. So hopefully the audio is not too scuffed, but anyways, like I was saying, I had about 15 to 16 years of training. I think the majority of that is in calisthenics. What I was going to say is that I feel like, despite training for so long, most of the gains and progress I have made have been over the course of the past year. Ever since I built this new gym at my home. And it's not necessarily because I have a gym at my home, and it's not necessarily, that I'm not training at a public gym anymore. I think it's more so along the lines of I've also made a lot of changes to my training regimen. I switched to the 2-set method. I try to pick, 2 to 3 exercises. Like on pull day, for example, I will do pull-ups. What else do I do? I do body weight rows, and I recently added a ring curl. And the idea is that you pick those 2 to 3 exercises that will hit around 95 to 100%, 95% to 100% of the associated muscles respective to that training day. And you want to hit about 2 sets of each exercise with about 5 minutes rest in between. And you want to pick a progression level, a resistance level, a difficulty level where at maximum intensity, at maximum effort, you will start to hit failure at around the 10 to 12 rep range, maybe around the 8 rep range for more challenging exercises. But you'll know when you're hitting the failure point because your rep quality will start to go downhill. And anyways, that's the overall training regimen. And then you can watch my videos for the various days to see what skills I'm training, how I'm training them, and the working sets that I'm doing in order to break down muscle and get stronger. I'll talk a bit more on the other stuff here shortly, but here is those gains I was talking about, those exponential gains. In less than a month of time, I have went from no human flag to what you see me doing here. I still have quite a ways to go in developing my human flag. But I mean, look at the progress I've made in such a short amount of time. And a part of that is because I have so much muscle mass, where I've worked out for so long, and I have progressed so quickly because all I have to do is learn how to use the muscle. So I'm not going to overlook that is, a huge contributing factor as to why I have been able to progress, why personally I have been able to progress so fast on this human flag skill. But most of that muscle mass and that strength I feel has really developed over the course of this past year. And just everything in general I have greatly improved at. I've made more progress in this past year than I feel I've made in the previous 14 or 15 or so years, is what I'm getting at. Yeah, so anyways, like I was talking about, I do the 2-set method. What I'm getting at here is I'm not trying to hide anything. Like, you're welcome to watch any of my videos to see my full training routine for each day. I always make a video. Look at there. You gotta be thankful for your gains. I always make a video for every training day. I think the only day I don't do a training video for is rest day and light leg day, because those are more rest day you can do optional light cardio, and on light leg day those are more like physical therapy, mobility type of exercises. Not making serious strength gains on those days. But if you're curious, I do have a Word document that I could give you the link to that has my entire routine. Just let me know if you'd like that. But anyways, like I've been talking about, I'm sharing my full training routine. I'm not trying to hide anything. There's so many people in this world that they want to hide everything behind a paywall. They want your money. We live in a world where nobody wants to help other people anymore unless they can get, money or something else from those people in return. And, I feel like that's kind of selfish. I understand to some extent people have to make money in order to survive. But also we need to help each other and be more selfless instead of selfish. Anyways, so going along with everything that I've shared so far about how I have made all these exponential gains in my strength training and in my calisthenics skill development, watch this dragon flag set here. This was incredible today. I'm really starting to get slower in these transitions. My strength is going off the charts. I have so many things to be thankful for, and I don't want your guys' money. I'm making YouTube videos, and maybe one day I'll get popular enough to make some income from YouTube, but ideally I will make money from working as a pharmacist because I am in pharmacy school, and so I have a deep interest in just helping others. So, how do you make these gains? How do you make this exponential strength growth? First of all, you really need to do your homework on the 2-set method. You can also just watch how I do these working sets here. This is being the first working set, or the first working exercise and first working set of my of my core day training. All those previous clips were just skills I was training. These clips are now where I'm actually trying to break down the muscle fibers to increase my muscle strength. You have to ask yourself, how do we get strong at the end of the day? We don't actually get stronger when we're working out. We actually get stronger after we work out, when we're resting and recovering. When we're working out, we're breaking down those muscle fibers, and then when we go rest, our body builds it back stronger next time, because our bodies are adaptation machines. So the idea behind the 2-set method is that you are breaking down the muscle fibers just enough to cause muscle growth when you recover, when you rest and recover, but you are not breaking down the muscle fibers to such an extent that you do not efficiently recover, or you need extended recovery periods, extended rest breaks. So what happens is you speed up the cycle of muscle breakdown, recovery, repeat, so that you can build muscle faster over time. I used to have the mindset we had to train so hard, we had to be sweating, we had to be pushing ourselves to the absolute limit in order to unlock these things. And you know what I achieved? I achieved a huge plateau in my strength. And I pretty much didn't get anywhere after maybe 3 to 4 years. I was pretty much plateaued from 3 to 4 years in to my 15-ish year training training time frame. I stayed at pretty much the same point from about 3 to 4 years in until here at this 15th-ish year last summer. You have to have patience in your training, and going along with that two-set mindset mentality, two-set method mindset mentality. Here's a great building block. You got to build a foundation for that human flag before you can really have a human flag. That's a great, 45-degree human flags are a great building block. But anyways, you got to have patience. Do not try to rush your progress. Always make sure you are doing an appropriate level progression. You're training at an appropriate difficulty level. It's better to be training at too easy of a difficulty than too difficult of a difficulty level, because what will happen at too difficult is you will injure yourself, or you will not be able to adequately perform the exercise, and then you're stuck in a plateau. Another good point to make, a good point of advice, is to always make sure you get your macros, make sure you get adequate nutrition. You can find various macronutrient calculators online for free. And remember this, it's better to overeat than it is to undereat. Look at me, I'm not exactly shredded. I'm around 18 to 20% body fat, if I had to guess, just off the top of my head. I weigh around 203 pounds, around 92 kilograms. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall, around 1.8 meters. I am by no means shredded. You do not have to be shredded to do this stuff. And believe me when I say that I overeat. I usually have kind of a dirty maintenance diet, so to say. I eat what I'm supposed to. I have my chicken, rice, and veggies. I eat 1 meal a day. We do not need to eat, 3 to 4 meals a day. Think about how we evolved thousands of years ago. It's not like we ate, all the hours of the day that we eat in modern times. And, that increases your chance of diabetes. And that also increases the amount of insulin that our bodies are releasing, and insulin in turn increases our chance of type 2 diabetes. And it also does a bunch of other things that I won't get into, but are only doing negative things to your gains. to say the least. So get your macros. Overeat is better compared to undereat. You need to focus on the subtle details of movements that you see me doing. Go slow. Like when you see me on those 45-degree human flags or even these ring fallouts, notice how I'm not just suddenly jumping into the movement, how I'm slowly putting the pressure on my joints. See, I'm not actually falling out, like I'm slowly putting pressure on, and that is really allowing my shoulders to be properly positioned and allowing me to properly engage my muscles and really focus on the technique. And also, it requires a lot more strength to do something slow than it does to do something fast. If you don't believe me, try a fast pull-up and then try a slow pull-up. Slow all the way up, slow all the way down, and let me know which one was more challenging. Another bit of advice is that you need to treat every attempt of a skill that you do, you need to treat every rep that you do of a working set like it's the last one that you'll ever hit. Always do your absolute best, because we always tend to get lazy over time on things that we do, and I am including myself when I say that. As we do things over time, our bodies, like I said earlier, we are adaptation machines, and we want to be lazy. We want to do things in the most efficient manner, even if it means cutting down our rep quality. But always be focused on your rep quality, especially with things like handstand, maintaining proper posture when you're doing pull-ups or human flags or really anything. You need to always have good posture. Focus on your balance. And also, before we wrap things up here, you can see my body composition there. I'm not shredded by any means. Kind of like a muscular, chubby guy, if I had to summarize my physique. But anyways, my last thought, my last tip for the day is that you will never unlock any skill if you do not train the movement. You can see my massive index finger muscles there. That's a joke, but anyways, you'll never unlock a skill if you don't train the movement. If you want to be able to do muscle ups, it does not matter what all those other videos online say that say you need to hit 15, 20, 30 pull-ups if you ever want to do a muscle up. That is not true. A pull-up and a muscle up are two completely different movements. So if you want, like, it's good to be able to do pull-ups well, but you could be able to do 100 pull-ups, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to do a muscle up if you don't train the muscle up movement. And you might be wondering, how am I going to train a muscle up if I can't do a muscle up? Or how am I going to train a human flag if I can't do a human flag? How am I going to do a one-arm pull-up if I can't do a one-arm pull-up? And the way you do it is you pick an easier progression of the same movement. And you could also try the full movement with something like a resistance band to help you, so to take off some of the weight. But the main idea that I want you guys to get is that you need to be training the movement. You can try doing a negative movement. That's another thought. Like, say you can't do pull-ups. How are you going to train pull-ups? Well, try negatives. Try using the resistance band to take some of the body weight off. And you can go on YouTube and you can type in, for example, human flag progressions, calisthenics human flag progression exercises, and there's all these different videos that show you everything ranging from your first day ever trying the skill all the way up into a complete master of the skill. So we just have to use our brains. We have to think about what we're doing, how to make skills and exercises easier, how to make them more challenging, and remember, have patience and don't try to get ahead of yourself. That's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below and I will try to get back with you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.